Meanwhile, Ukraine's Zelensky warns of Putin's applause for Biden's peace summit absence. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a stern warning to U.S. President Joe Biden, stating that Vladimir Putin will personally applaud his absence if he fails to attend a peace summit in Switzerland next month. During a visit to Brussels, where he signed a 10-year security pact with Belgium, Zelensky stressed the significance of Biden's presence at the talks scheduled for June 15 to 16 near Lucerne. The peace summit needs President Biden, he emphasized. His absence will be seen as a sign of weakness, and Putin will exploit it. Quote, "The conference, organized at Zelensky's urging to secure a just and lasting peace, notably excludes Russia, raising questions about its potential outcomes. Nevertheless, over 160 delegations have been invited, including members of the G7, G20, EU, Council of Europe, and UN. Zelensky expressed his anticipation of responses from China and Brazil, emphasizing the importance of every nation's participation. And Belgium commits F-16s to Ukraine amid weapons restrictions frustration. Belgium has pledged to provide Ukraine with 30 F-16 fighter jets by 2028, with initial deliveries expected later this year. While Zelensky welcomed the jets, he voiced frustration with Western allies' restrictions on their use against targets within Russian territory. Ukraine's forces continue to suffer casualties as Russian forces launch attacks from the border near Kharkiv. Zelensky cited the recent attack on a hardware store in Kharkiv, which killed at least 12 civilians, as an example of the devastating effects of these restrictions. "We cannot answer Russia," Zelensky lamented. "We receive satellite images, but we are not permitted to strike back. This is unfair. We understand the need to maintain our partners' support, but we must be allowed to defend ourselves." NATO backs Ukraine's request for expanded weapons use. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg echoed Zelensky's plea to end the limitations on Western weapons, stating that it was time for EU member states to lift restrictions on Ukraine's ability to strike Russian territory. "The war has evolved, and Ukraine now needs to defend itself along its borders," Stoltenberg said. "Allowing them to attack military sites in Russia is legitimate." EU chief diplomat Josep Borrell concurred, stating that such actions fell within the rules of war as long as they adhered to humanitarian law. However, the F-16 agreement with Belgium prohibits Ukraine from using the jets to attack targets inside Russia. Zelensky signs security pact with Belgium. During his visit to Brussels, Zelensky signed a long-term support and security agreement with Belgium, worth €977 million this year. The agreement covers various areas of cooperation, including Air Force and defense equipment, naval security, mine clearance, military training, and ammunition. Spain pledges €1 billion in military aid. On Monday, Zelensky traveled to Spain, where Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez pledged €1 billion in military aid over a decade. The aid will primarily focus on strengthening Ukraine's air defenses. Switzerland tightens measures to expel spies. Switzerland's upper house of parliament has supported a motion to strengthen measures to expel spies, targeting Russian intelligence agents ahead of the peace summit. The motion, entitled "Systematically Expel Russian Spies and Other Foreign Spies," was approved by a vote of 32 in favor to 9 against. Meanwhile, F-16s, a popular military aircraft, always a popularity. The F-16, initially built by the U.S. in partnership with Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway, has become the most sought-after military aircraft of all time. Ukraine's request for 200 F-16s in January 2023 took months of negotiations with Western allies to secure a plan for training Ukrainian pilots. NATO's Conclusion. As the peace summit in Switzerland draws near, Ukraine's President Zelensky and NATO push for an end to restrictions on weapons use against Russia. Western allies grapple with balancing their support for Ukraine's defense with the risks of escalation. The evolving conflict continues to have far-reaching implications, shaping the diplomatic and military strategies of both sides.